Are you going to do the final interview for Delta Airlines? Want to know the 9 most common questions from this interview with answer tips? You're in the right place. Hello, how are you? I'm Romulo Gutierrez, and this is the Flight Deck Briefing Channel. I've been a recruiter and selector for 28 years with extensive experience in U.S. and global airlines. Currently, I provide training for 45 different airlines around the world, giving recruiters tips on how to hire the best cabin crew. Let's go to the first question Delta will ask you in the final interview, which is, tell us a bit about yourself and why you want to work here at Delta, okay? For this answer, it's very important for you to have two characteristics. First of all, that you also make a personal presentation about yourself as a person. It's not just about the professional career aspect. Even if it's 30 seconds, I can say, hi, how are you? I'm Romulo Gutierrez. I'm originally from Brazil, and I've lived in the United States for 15 years. Currently, I'm Anna Clara's father. I'm married to Nadine, and I really enjoy water sports. 30 seconds of personal presentation. Then I'll talk about other things. Aviation plays a very important role in my life. For 2 years now, I've been studying languages. I completed the flight attendant training course and have been looking for the best airlines in the world to join as a flight attendant. And without a doubt, Delta is the best company for sure to start my career. Then comes why I want to work at Delta. The main reasons why I want to work at Delta, then I would work on 2 fundamental Delta values, which are connection and customer experience. So I could say Delta is extremely concerned. It is extremely concerned with its customers and connecting them. I think that's a very noble mission. And without a doubt, it's the company that best creates the best experiences. Customer smiles at Delta are the result of experience and a lot of hard work. And that's why I would like to be a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. So it's a sample answer, but it's important for you to understand that you have to connect your answer to the company's values. Let's go to the second question. There are 9. Second, tell me about a time you had to deal with a really angry passenger or customer. What did you do to calm them down? Yeah, the Delta recruiter, he's going to check if you have 3 characteristics here. 3 characteristics. First of them, empathy. To see if you can put yourself in the customer's shoes. TH. This is the first point. The second, if you're able to turn an angry, nervous, irritated customer into someone calmer. And third, which is to de-escalate the conflict, okay? And third, if you can stay calm in high-pressure situations, all right? But the question says, tell me about a situation. Every time it asks, tell me about a situation, it's very important that you bring up situations using the STAR method. STAR is situation, task, action, and result. I'll give you an example. Yes, there was a situation where a customer got very upset with me. I worked in a shoe store. I was a salesperson. And the customer wanted a sneaker, a New Balance, but that sneaker wasn't available in his size. And he got very irritated. Situation. My task at first was I put myself in the customer's shoes, understood the problem, right? And told him, don't worry, sir. I'll check if we have the same size you need on the website. From there, I took action. I went to the computer, checked if it was available in his size. It wasn't, but I talked to my manager, and my manager said that size and that color of sneaker he wanted was at another store. From there, I contacted that store and told him that in 2 days, the sneaker would be there. The result was that he was very grateful and complimented my work to the store. So situation, task, action, and result. I've never sold shoes, okay? I'm a recruiter, but I'm commenting on how you should show, de-escalate conflict, have empathy, stay calm under pressure. Let's move on to the third question out of 9. I'm going to ask you to leave a like, subscribe, please. There are new videos here every Monday and Wednesday. Monday and Wednesday, okay? The world of aviation and selection processes in the United States are on Flight Deck Briefing. Subscribe, leave a like. And if you don't know my ebook, My ebook shows the 50 errors that most often fail flight attendants in selection processes. And it's really worth checking out the ebook. It's advertised here, it's in the first pinned comment, and in the video description. Third question, tell me about a situation, once again, a situation, look at that, where a colleague of yours violated rules or company policies where you worked, and how did you react to that? Every time, including at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a tip I'm going to give you a gift so you can answer questions using this STAR method, okay? Just wait until the end of the video. But going back, it's very important that this type of question, tell me about a situation, tell me about a time, tell me about a fact. You'll have to tell specific situations. And the tip I give isn't that these situations have to come to you on the spot. Start taking notes. Look, there will be situations with angry customers. There will be situations with customers who neglect safety norms and rules. So you should already be thinking about situations you can share, okay? And so to describe this situation with colleagues, I've listed 3 foundations, 3, keywords, which are integrity, procedure, and safety. Integrity, procedure, and safety. So I could say, look, there have indeed been situations where colleagues neglected safety standards. I will always act with integrity, meaning I'll do what the company defines, following the standard operating procedure, because there's no such thing as a more or less important procedure. They're all important. After all, safety comes first. The situation I went through then comes situation, task, action, and result. Let's move on to the 4th question of the 9 I have in this masterclass on the Delta interview for you. Give me an example of a time you had to work as a team to solve a complex problem. Give me an example of a time you had to work as a team to solve a complex problem. And then I've listed 3 key words that are important for, once again, a situation where you'll have to describe how you solved a complex problem. Synchrony is the first word, collaboration, and agility. And agility. So I'll give another example here, saying, look, there was a problem, a situation when I worked a long time ago. I worked at an amusement park and a woman was on a ride I don't recall the name of, but it was a ride that went high up and dropped suddenly. And this woman, as the elevator starts to go up, she begins to have a panic attack. Situation. Task, second point. The task was that she started screaming to stop. I immediately saw this and alerted the technical staff in the area to stop the elevator's ascent. The elevator's ascent stopped right then, and from there we contacted the engineer in charge of the ride, and that engineer guided us on how we should bring the ride down without a very fast drop. And then, as a team, we took that action, and the result was that when we got there, she was really unwell. She had fainted, her pulse was very fast, but as a team, we managed to call the park's health service and revive her quickly. And it was a situation where we worked as a team to solve a complex problem. I repeat, I've never worked at an amusement park. It's just an example, so you can understand how you should structure your answers. The Delta recruiter doesn't want my answers. He wants your answers, your stories, your case studies. If you've made it to the 9-minute and 15-second mark of the video, write this. He wants my stories. Right? He wants my stories. So I know you've made it this far. And you help me with that too. Now let's move on to the 5th question. Before going to the 5th question, if you want mentoring here from Flight Deck Briefing, that live online mentoring via Google Meet to train for your interview or any other stage of the selection process for Delta or any other airline, the contact info is right here, okay? They're also in the first pinned comment and in the video description, all right? You can reach out via WhatsApp if you want to talk to me. If you want to schedule directly, there's the website. You'll click on the site, choose the number of sessions, tell us a little bit about what you want to train, what you want to develop in the sessions. Right there, you can make the payment and receive the link for the mentoring sessions. And it will be great to help you so that you finally take off in your career. Let's go to the fifth question. Tell me about a situation where you went above and beyond to satisfy a customer. Tell me about a situation where you went above and beyond to satisfy a customer. Once again, Delta is asking for a situation. Once again, a situation, okay? And here I've put 3 keywords or 3 key ideas for you to develop your situation. The 3 keywords are 1, servant leadership, 2, a sense of anticipation. Delta is a company that likes its flight attendants to actively observe everything that's happening and anticipate the needs of the passengers. And third, brand impact, meaning I assist the passenger in a very servant-like way, and that positively impacts the brand. All of this should be told in a story of yours, in a situation of yours, okay? Let's go to the 6th question. Tell me about a time when there were strict rules at your job and those rules suddenly changed. How did you go about adapting? Tell me about a time at your job when there were well-established rules and they changed. How did you go about adapting? So this involves 3 important foundations that Delta will evaluate, which are adaptation, resilience, and flexibility. Adaptation, resilience, and flexibility. I'll give a star example here. Look, I'm usually a very adaptable person in everything I do. Flexible, especially because I was trained for that. I've worked as a receptionist in a hotel, and there was a situation where they made a schedule so that all employees could have time off, either during Christmas or New Year's. And I was off during the Christmas period. The day before my day off, I had a trip planned. I had family commitments. I was told that one of the employees had gotten sick and that I wouldn't be able to take my days off. What did I do? Of course, it was hard at the time, but I told my family. They understood right away. And I worked normally on Christmas and also on New Year's. After all, that was my profession. That's where I earned my daily living, my livelihood. And I needed to do that. And I did it happily with a clear mind, especially because when I started working, for example, at the Mercury Hotel, I was told that flexibility was one of the most important factors. And I was flexible and worked there for 3 years and had 2 promotions precisely because I was a flexible person. I've never worked in a hotel. I'm just giving you this example so you can think about your own stories, okay? So that you reflect. We can reflect together on the best stories, best cases in the mentoring session, in a session personalized for you. If you're watching a video, leave a like, make a comment, like I asked, because that helps me a lot. Let's move on to the 7th question, because I've prepared a great lesson for you here today, so you can pass this Delta Airlines interview. How would you deal with a fellow crew member who shows a lack of cooperation or who did a job in the wrong way? How do you deal with people who don't cooperate and also do things wrong anyway? It's a difficult question too, okay? Here, you don't need to focus on star, that is, a focus on star answers. You can be more direct. Here, I've put 3 bases for you to answer. First, assertive feedback. Second, respect. Third, professionalism. Right? So I would say, look, if I had to deal with a colleague who doesn't cooperate with the team, who does things the wrong way, sometimes even on purpose, the first thing is feedback, a chat. I'd invite him for a coffee, something more informal, and talk to him. I'd tell him that attitude was hindering the team, hindering the procedures. I'd give him examples so that he could understand. Always in a respectful way, also listening to the colleague, right? Without disrespecting him and with as much professionalism as possible, without mixing personal and professional issues. And I believe that a chat like this, he would have a lot to gain, and I would also have a lot to gain. After all, our work depends a lot. One job depends on the other, so that's why I would have this chat with him. I'd have this conversation with him. Let's move on to the 8th question. This is another situational question. Let's go. I hope you're taking notes on all of these questions. Describe a mistake that you made and how you went about correcting it. Describe a mistake that you made and how you went about correcting it. So you can't, you have to tell them about a mistake you made. Tip, 3 foundations. What are they checking for here? First, self-awareness, to see if you can identify your mistakes and have the humility to realize your errors. This is very important to them. Second, learning, the ability to learn from the mistake. Third, responsibility, meaning being responsible for your own mistakes. Not saying that your mistakes are other people's mistakes. By the way, it's terrible to work with people like that, right? People who make mistakes and then they blame others. I've met many people like that in my career, and it's quite bad. And I learned early on that when I mess up, I own it. Getting back. So describing a situation like this is also something important. And the 9th question, for those of you who stayed until this point in the video, what would you do if a flight was very delayed and the passengers started to confront you, started to question you, and started to get angry about the flight delay? What would you do? Okay, and so this question doesn't need to be answered using the STAR method, but you can say exactly what you would do. Can you give an example, Romulo? You actually can. If you feel more comfortable, you can give an example. What are they going to measure here in these answers? Emotional intelligence, physical presence, right? And good communication. So I could give the following answer. Look, if a flight were very delayed and the passengers started to confront me and get angry with the delay, first of all, stay calm, maintain your composure. I think that would be something very important to do. Staying calm, maintaining your composure is something very important to do. Second, don't hide. Don't go to the back of the aircraft and stay hidden. No. Keep walking through the aircraft, conveying calmness, conveying confidence to everyone. And communication. Communicate the reason for the delay, whether it's a weather issue or a technical problem. Convey confidence and show that we are in this together at that moment. In other words, the flight attendant is also a partner to the passenger who is there. That is what I would do in this situation. And those are the 9 questions from Delta. I said I would leave a gift for you. I'm going to leave 2. I'm going to leave a video where I'll explain how to use the STAR methodology the right way. That video will appear right here. And another video on how to participate in Delta's group dynamics, which is also an important stage where they work on the group exercise part that will be on this side here. And I'm really, really, really rooting for you. Excellent preparation. Take care and see you film. Bye.